If you've been on this channel before, you know I love talking about Smash Ultimate and the characters within it, but if there's something that causes arguments the most, it's when I talk about matchups. Man, people cannot decide which matchups characters win or lose. They'll always say one or two things to find the matchup, and I just disagree a lot of the time, but I still find it interesting. There are characters though that I think transcend matchups, characters that might lose a lot of matchups on paper, but don't have to worry about it because their tools are just that strong. We're going to talk about that today. If you enjoy content like this, make sure to subscribe. We're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers, and I would love if you were a part of that, but let's get into it. If you ask people who the hardest character in the game is, you might hear that it's either Sheik or Peach. Peach is known as being a technical god when she has such broken moves like her entire float kit, her aerials, her turnip combos. This character is extremely broken when you can land everything you need to land, but it takes a lot of effort. You'll see players like Mutates look like he's literally dying while playing the character just because of how much it takes to use the most broken tools in her kit. And while I do think they are broken, a lot of people tend to think they beat Peach. Top Peach player Ling Ling goes DDD in the matchup instead of going to Ditto. Characters like Duck Hunt Dog have been destroying Peach for years. And while there have been a ton of good Peach players like Umeki, Mutates, Ling Ling, Cody, and a ton others, I do find that Peaches say they struggle with a ton of different characters that you would just never expect. A lot of mid-tier and low-tier characters. Regardless of all of that, she still ends up a top tier. And I think I know why. Peach is difficult, but I think Peach has the benefit of having a broken thing in every state of the game. In neutral, her aerials are extremely safe on shield because of the fact that when you use float, they are as strong as full hop aerials in short hop height, meaning her shield game is one of the best in the game with having a broken advantage state. Everyone knows about Peach advantage state at this point, using turnip combos to kill at absurdly low percents, and even if you don't kill, you still do like 70, 80, or 90. It's disgusting. Her disadvantage seemed like it would be the worst thing about her, but again, with float, you can mix up how you get down, and you have down air, which is deceptively big. It actually makes it so jumping up at her is pretty difficult, and she does still have those broken aerials to come down with. Of course, she's one of the hardest characters in the game to get out of the corner because of those aerials, and she's very mobile, meaning that against people who are just trying to wait at ledge, it's a lot of pressure, and she can abuse that. Well, especially because with that float, again, off stage, she's also crazy. She can just hover there and do nair and beat most recoveries. Even if it seems like it's annoying for her to fight projectile characters, there's always some state of the game that she's just a little bit better than you at because she has such a crazy good kit, really balanced kit. It makes it so people respect Peach players a lot when they win because she is very difficult to move around with. The tech is so precise that if you mess up, you might just get full comboed, and it does make it so when you fight a Peach, you don't really feel like you're getting cheated. But don't fall for it, this character is disgusting. Having that shield game, having the pressure that she has, and having access to becoming a Luigi whenever she wants, it feels like people are just undermining how dumb she is because of how difficult she is, which is fine. I think broken characters that are difficult are the nicest type. But let's talk about someone who's broken and not difficult. I legit think the best way to describe Rob, that I think a lot of people like to use as well, is that it takes such a small amount to learn how to play Rob, but so much to learn how to beat him. Laser, Gyro, and Nair are three of the most broken moves in Smash Ultimate, all culminated on a character who is gigantic, meaning that the hitboxes are nuts, and he'll always be right in front of your face, ready to pressure you no matter where you are. His down tilt is crazy. He can just bash it on shield and you can't do anything about it. And if you get touched by it, you get full comboed across the stage or comboed into grab, which can lead to down throw, which can lead to up tilt, which can lead to up air, and you can die at 80. Side B is notoriously ridiculous. Reflecting is not really what it's supposed to do because in Smash 4, all it did was reflect. It didn't have a hitbox, but now they added a hitbox and now you can carry people to the side blast zone at extremely low percents. Rob's entire kit is so versatile that it makes it so even when he does struggle, he always has that threat to be right where he wants to be. This isn't a case where his neutral is really that crazy. I mean, it is. You still have to know a lot of how to deal with it, but people have dealt with it before. It's just that the threat of his advantage state is so disgusting that even if you are beating him in neutral like 10 times, as long as he gets that correct one time, he can kill you. People say Rob loses a lot of matchups, right? He loses to Young Link, who's pretty bad. He uses the Game & Watch, loses to Kazuya, loses to Pikachu, loses to Diddy Kong, loses to Mario. All these matchups that seem on paper so easy and so free, just hit him. You can combo him really well, and your neutral is good enough to counter his, so when you get your hit, you can make the most of it. But I think people forget that A, Rob is big. Not big in the sense that he is gigantic, because that is broken, but he's heavy. If you don't kill him from the hit that you did, you're just gonna be susceptible to dying just like everyone else. People keep thinking that Rob's advantage state is just his combos, but everything's nuts. His ledge trapping is crazy, his corner pressure is crazy. He can still chase you from miles away because his laser and gyro go so far. Once you get off stage, you're very susceptible to getting down aired, forward aired, side beat, gyroed, lasered. There's so many things to come back. Even if you do well against Rob, like I think Mario does, he still has the range problem and can get edge guarded by him, which is something that Mario's good matchups don't really have. I do think there are characters like Game & Watch that beat Rob hard enough that it's an actual difficult matchup. Since Game & Watch's recovery is so good, he has a crazy advantage state on him, but it actually matters more than just the combo, and his neutral does do very good against Rob's stuff. But I think people always forget that versatility is what makes Rob broken, not just the combo, not just the moves individually. They have so many uses and so many things you can adapt with that it makes it so he can overcome pretty much every matchup just doing Rob brokenness, on top of having a crazy 0 to death that destroys people. Is Rob toxic to the scene? Lots of people would like to say so, but I think there are people who can actually enjoy fighting Rob, not only because their advantage states can be good on him, but it is nice to actually feel like when you learn the matchup, you can actually do stuff. Yes, it is still Rob and can overcome a lot because he's still broken in lots of spots, but once you do read that book and figure out exactly what you need to do with Rob, he can feel still like a Smash character. Broken, but a Smash character still. And there's one character that I think is obviously better than him that doesn't feel like a Smash character. I can legit believe before DLC 2 came out that if you told me Rob was the best character in the game, I could believe you. But I could also believe people saying that fighting Rob's fun. I still see why people don't like fighting Rob, but I do see where you can find the flaws in him. And when people say that they beat him, I could believe that as well. I think Steve transcends that. There's an overarching problem with the Smash community and Steve. While they do think that Steve deserves to be banned, well, some people do, some people don't believe he should be banned. But even if we're gonna have that discussion, the fact that there's a split at all makes it so people suck against Steve and don't want to learn anything when it comes to playing against him. It makes it so he's a lot better than he actually is. Don't get me wrong, he's broken. He has incredible moves, broken advantage state that can combo from 0. He has some of the dumbest risk rewards because if you just miss, you die super early while he can just control the pace of the match from the beginning. He's really dumb. And he's obviously the best character in the game, but I think people using that hatred of him makes it so that if you're going to compete in Smash Ultimate and you don't want to play against Steve, you're going to just suck against every Steve that you fight, and it's going to make you worse. I do think Steve transcends the matchups that make it so he can always just do well no matter what kind of bracket he's in. There are characters like Mario who combo him extremely well and have an advantage state that makes it so if he actually gets touched, he can't really escape, and I think that's his biggest flaw, but the other stats on him are just so incredible. His own advantage state, which he can do 0 to death, he can always do 1 billion damage no matter what tool he has. He can always use diamond to kill super early. He has back air, which is one of the best anti-airs in the game. He has up tilt, which is one of the best anti-airs in the game and one of the best moves ever in Smash Brothers. There are so many broken moves on Steve that any matchup he does struggle against, which I think are very few because his entire kit is so well rounded, I think he can overcome it just from having such a broken attack stat. Sephiroth having range makes it so Steve can't always place blocks where he wants, but he's so fragile and so light that any advantage state Steve has makes it pretty much obsolete. I think Min Min and Snake are annoying, just destroying him in neutral, having a way better chance to attack him, but with Minecart being so good at burst optioning towards people, you have to always be ready for it. Even with Min Min's crazy range, she's still susceptible to it like anyone else, and even though Snake can keep him out with grenades, it still doesn't make it so hard. Minecart isn't like the most broken move to use ever. Any advantage you have against Steve doesn't feel that strong when his advantage state and neutral are so broken and polarizing. And I get that when you hit him it can matter, but it doesn't feel like Smash Brothers all the time. It feels like you're just always having the risk reward be towards the Steve player. And that's why I think he's the best character in the game, but he's not unbeatable. We've seen it happen many times where people just struggle so much against him, they just rather not face him. And I think at this point, we just have to do what we can to just fight someone this good. If we're going to play this game competitively and have Japan be a big part of our scene, we pretty much can't ignore Steve anymore. It's unfortunate because I can understand the banning him argument, but I think expecting it at this point is foolish. Thank you for watching. Are there any characters you think I should have included in this video? Let me know. I'm not really sure any other characters who transcend matchups that aren't just like super broken top tiers, but let me know. I'm very curious what people have to say. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.